Hello. Thank you so much for joining. My name is Kara Goodwin. I'm the host of the Meditation Conversation podcast. And today I want to just talk about this crazy election season that we're in here in America. And it can be tricky to navigate the election under the best of circumstances. And when we are wanting to live our life from a spiritual perspective, I feel like that can add even more confusion when we're in election cycles because there's so much information that we're given, and there's a lot of importance that people place on the government. And I know that in in past times in my own life, I have been very passionate about politics. I have paid very close attention to what the media outlets that I paid attention to, what they had to say. I very much let them shape my opinions about candidates, and it made me feel very strongly in favor of the candidates that I thought, were most aligned with my values. But what it also did was make me very anti the other side. And when we're on a spiritual journey and we understand ourselves as spiritual beings, that's one of the big hurdles on this planet for us to overcome through the human experience is that duality, that us versus them, right and wrong, and that separation. That's a big part of what we are here to overcome. And so, part of my own spiritual journey has been the uh, not allowing government issues and election cycles to take such prominence over my life, to take such a focus in my life, to not give my energy, my precious energy, my vital life force, not spending so much of my time, my energy paying attention to the election cycles. And that has benefited me greatly because my spiritual work requires my focus, it requires my energy, it requires me to take back and reclaim that energetic life force that I have and to bring it back into myself. And this actually helps not only my mental state, in terms of not getting so frustrated, not getting so angry during election cycles when I see the other side doing things that I disagree with. And that used to take a lot of my attention. And when I'm so focused on the external, when I'm so focused on what I think people are doing that's wrong, or I'm looking at certain people and trying to project into the future how they might make decisions that I don't agree with if they get into office. All of that was taking a lot of my mental acuity. It was taking a lot of my energy. It was me focusing on things like while I'm focused on that, I'm not focusing on myself. I'm not focusing on my own spiritual growth. I'm not focusing really on the things that matter to me as a soul. And the truth is that there is a war. There is there is a war for your attention. Your attention, your mind is the battlefield. And there are all kinds of agendas in the external world, the world outside of your body and your mind, your soul, that are vying for your attention. They want your attention. They want you to buy into the reality that they're offering. They want you to buy into the fear, and they want you to feel that fear so that you then think that they have the solution, um, the remedy for that fear, to resolve that fear, that benefits them. It helps you to latch into, to hook into their reality. And the more people that do it, the more energy they are fed, the more power we give them. And it very much benefits another party, another agenda. And this is happening in many, many ways, not just in the government, not just in the election cycles. Um, all reality is this, let me get as much attention in and taken as much energy from people as I can. That's kind of the game. That's what that's what is happening. And so it's important for you to recognize that you're a part of that game, that war. and and the more that you're giving, freely giving yourself to those agendas, then you're taking that precious resource of your own energy system and you're taking that away from yourself. You're just kind of letting it flow out to other things. And for me, when I recognized that and I really understood it, because it can take a little bit of time to really understand that. You really have to be tuning into yourself as an energy being and understanding the flow of energy and how important that vitality is for your physical health. Your physical health is dependent on you having healthy running energy and ample supply of that vital life force. It is dependent, your emotional state, your mental state, all of that is dependent on you having this constant flow of energy and that you are present. And when we're distracting ourselves with this outer agenda, we are depleting ourselves of that vital resource, that vital life force. So for me, when I recognized and really understood how that the importance of that, the importance of my spiritual growth, how that's a really like key aspect of why I'm here is to understand myself as source, as a spiritual being. That is a huge component of why we incarnated. And it made me reprioritize the importance of the election cycles. And so I really don't give much attention to it. I know it's happening. I'm a part of society. I hear things, I see things. I don't really watch the news now, so I'm not like tuning into the programming and pay attention to the words that are used to describe television programming. I opt out of the news programs, the news cycles, pretty much. I kind of look at headlines. I do like to just have an understanding of where things are, on a given day. But I don't typically go in and read the news. I don't have the news on. But um, I have tried to be clear of putting a sign outside my door because I have a no soliciting sign on my door. And that usually is good with keeping salespeople away. And the main reason for that is my dog barks a lot and she gets crazy, and it's really hard for me to even open the door because she's very protective. And it's just easier if people don't ring my doorbell, especially when I'm not going to buy something from a salesperson knocking on my door anyway. But a no soliciting sign is also it's intended for anybody who wants to ring my doorbell to influence me. Essentially, that's my intention. Don't ring my doorbell and try to solicit anything from me. And I've had twice now political people canvassing the neighborhood who have rang my doorbell anyway or knocked on my door. And I'm like, did you see that I have a no soliciting sign? And they're like, well, we're not selling anything. Well, you're soliciting votes. That's the same. That's soliciting. Like, I don't want your opinion. Don't knock on my door and try to influence me to get me pulled in. So that's another way that, I put like a clarifying post-it note, like, I don't want to talk about politics. Don't ring my doorbell. And people have people think that they're doing, their civic duty. I completely understand, and I'm not trying to put them down for that. I appreciate what they think that they're doing, and that they want to influence. They want to influence reality. They want people to buy into their reality, and I understand that. But I want to influence my own reality, and I don't really want people, coming onto my property and trying to sell me on their candidate. I think that, if I'm interested in researching the candidates, then I don't want to be influenced by people, strangers knocking on my door personally. Um, so I just encourage you, if you haven't already, to think about the election cycle, think about it from the ascension process. And one thing that I wanted to make sure that I mentioned as well is getting over or reframing the election from us versus them to inclusion. And for me, this is seeing the yard signs that people have, or the bumper stickers or whatever, where they're endorsing candidates. I'm not very I don't have, like, a strong preference, honestly, with the candidates, this cycle, but, um, I catch my own judgments when just by seeing a sign, I think I understand the person that's in the home or in the car. And that is a blind spot that I'm working through. But I think that that's really common. And I challenge all of us to catch ourselves in these judgments, in these ways that we're separating ourselves, in these ways that we decide that we don't like somebody just because of the sign outside of their house. We might even direct hatred toward somebody who, we strongly oppose their candidate. And that is a real weak spot for humanity. And it's so ingrained. It's so much a part of this madness. The news is feeding into this. There's so much going on with it. And so it's up to each of us as individuals to notice when we within ourselves are judging people based on their opinions with the political candidates, and we're adding hatred, distrust, dislike into it. And what can we do within ourselves to alchemize that? And and a really important starting point is healing our own traumas, getting our own selves right, loving ourselves, really working on ourselves so that we can be whole, we can really be in the fullness of who we are, and see more clearly how we're all doing our best. We all think that we have the best interest at heart, but we're seeing things from different lenses, different facets of the prism. And so that we can drop the judgments, really working on trying to be more compassionate, more accepting, more loving to our brothers and sisters. So I thank you so much for tuning in, and I wish you many, many blessings as we finish up this election cycle. And thank you again, and I'll see you next time.